Do you remember a time when just seeing the West Indies cricket team walk onto the court was enough to put immense pressure on their opponents? And standing at the heart of that terrifying dynasty was Desmond Haynes, the man who, alongside Gordon Greenidge, formed one of the most legendary opening partnerships in cricket history. Entire stadiums used to roar his name. An entire generation across the Caribbean saw him as a symbol of strength, pride, and dominance. But strangely, the most fascinating part of Desmond Haynes' story today is no longer the records, the victories, or the fame. It is the way he quietly disappeared from the noise of international celebrity life and returned home to a peaceful life in rural Barbados. No constant headlines, no flashy superstar lifestyle, just the sound of Caribbean wind, slow island mornings, and a man who seems far more comfortable with peace than attention. Many people are probably wondering, after nearly 2 decades of shouldering the pressure of winning for an entire region, why would a sports legend choose such a quiet life? Because to truly understand why Desmond Haynes still carries such a calm, grounded energy today, you first have to understand the island that shaped him. To outsiders, Barbados looks like paradise. White sand beaches, warm Caribbean sunsets, turquoise water, and slow island mornings. But beneath that beauty sits something much deeper. Cricket. On this island, cricket was never just a game. It became part of the culture, part of identity, almost like a second religion. Children grew up holding cricket bats before they were old enough to fully understand the meaning of competition. Desmond Haynes himself once admitted, "In Barbados, cricket was like a religion." For many boys growing up across the Caribbean, cricket represented far more than entertainment. It was opportunity, pride, escape, a way to prove yourself beyond the limits of a small island. Many Caribbean nations still carried the psychological scars of colonialism. Small islands that had once been underestimated by former empires suddenly discovered one place where they could fight back directly against the world's powers. The cricket field. According to historians like Hilary Beckles and post-colonial analyses of West Indies cricket, the sport evolved into a symbol of black pride, freedom, and Caribbean self-determination. Victories against England and other Western teams felt bigger than sport itself. When West Indies defeated England in 1976, many Caribbean people did not see it as just cricket. It felt like psychological liberation, and Barbados became one of the most important talent factories inside that movement. This marks a crucial turning point in Desmond Haynes' story. He did not grow up like some glamorous future celebrity. Born in 1956 in Holders Hill, Street James, a quiet rural area known for producing tough local cricketers rather than wealthy stars, Haynes came from a very ordinary environment. He was largely raised by his grandmother, Irene Haynes, while his mother worked. His family had no professional cricket dynasty and no celebrity lifestyle surrounding them. What shaped him instead was discipline, community, toughness, pride, and before long, that quiet young man from Holders Hill was about to enter the most feared cricket team on earth. As everyone saw in the late 1970s and throughout the 1980s, the West Indies team did more than simply win matches. They were terrifying the rest of the cricket world. When Desmond Haynes made his Test debut in 1978 against Australia in Port of Spain, few people could have predicted he would soon become part of one of the greatest opening partnerships the sport had ever seen. Alongside Gordon Greenidge, Haynes built a legendary combination that changed the psychology of opening batting forever. Together, they played 148 innings, scored 6,482 runs, and produced 16-century partnerships, still regarded as one of the most iconic opening pairings in cricket history. But what made them special was not just the numbers. It was the pressure they created. Greenidge brought aggression and intimidation. Haynes brought control, rhythm, and stability. They rotated strike constantly, punished loose bowling, and forced opponents into exhaustion long before the middle order even arrived. And behind them stood perhaps the most feared bowling attack cricket had ever witnessed. Malcolm Marshall with terrifying pace and flawless technique. Joel Garner, Big Bird, delivering Yorkers that many batsmen described as nearly unplayable. Then came names like Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, and later Curtly Ambrose. The famous pace quartet did not simply beat teams. They intimidated them psychologically. Many opponents walked onto the field already afraid. But here is what made Desmond Haynes so unique inside that larger-than-life era. He was never the loudest superstar in the room. Unlike the flamboyant charisma of Viv Richards or the explosive personality of Greenwich, Haynes operated differently. Quietly, almost cold-bloodedly, Wisden once praised him for having personified consistency, and that description fit perfectly. Haynes became known as a silent pressure machine, the kind of player who stabilized innings, absorbed pressure, and slowly broke opponents mentally over time. His batting looked technically clean and controlled. His timing was elegant. His mental toughness became one of his greatest weapons. He excelled against fast bowling and later improved significantly against spin as well. Again and again, he became the dependable anchor that allowed the rest of West Indies to play freely around him. But behind all that dominance, life during that era was far more brutal than many modern fans realize. Cricket in the 1980s did not create billionaire athletes the way modern sports can today. There were no massive central contracts, no social media sponsorship empires, and no luxury branding machines constantly generating income. Players earned money by playing. Constantly, tour after tour, country after country, month after month away from home. The physical and emotional exhaustion was enormous. And the pressure placed on West Indies players felt relentless because by then, they were no longer just representing cricket teams. They were carrying the pride of the entire Caribbean region on their shoulders. That generation built its financial stability through thousands of hours of training, endless touring schedules, and the expectation that they had to keep winning every time they stepped onto the field. Many former cricketers from that era struggled financially after retirement, but Desmond Haynes slowly built a more stable life over decades through cricket, coaching, investments, and leadership roles, including chairman of selectors for Barbados, director at Cricket West Indies, senator, and involvement with the National Sports Council. Today, his estimated net worth is often placed around $5 million. But even his wealth reflects something deeply old-school Caribbean in spirit. Maybe that says everything about the kind of man he always was. Because West Indies during that era did not simply win cricket matches. They gave the Caribbean something much more emotional. Respect. Small islands once dismissed by colonial powers had suddenly become the most feared force in world cricket. But then, something strange happened after the glory years ended. Desmond Haynes did not choose to live like a celebrity at all. Desmond Haynes quietly went back home to Barbados. That decision reveals more about who he truly is than all the cricket records ever could. After spending years traveling across the world, living inside packed stadiums and carrying the emotional weight of an entire region, Haynes eventually chose something radically different. Privacy. His life today feels almost completely disconnected from modern celebrity culture. No constant media appearances, no flashy sports legend branding, no desperate attempts to stay visible online. Instead, Haynes embraced what could best be described as an old Caribbean version of wealth. Comfortable, private, and deeply connected to home. And perhaps nothing represents that lifestyle more clearly than his quiet property in rural Barbados. The home itself does not feel like a modern internet mansion designed to impress strangers. It feels lived in, hidden at the end of a long winding road and sitting on approximately 5.59 acres of private land. The property is surrounded partly by mature mahogany trees, creating a balance between peaceful isolation and the convenience of nearby town life. Inside, the atmosphere appears warm rather than extravagant. Natural light fills the rooms, while the carefully designed interior creates a calm and welcoming feeling instead of cold luxury. The main living area features high ceilings and an open flow connecting the kitchen and dining spaces, practical for both quiet everyday living and relaxed gatherings with friends. A second living space offers flexibility that reflects the slower rhythm of Caribbean life. It could easily function as a home office, media room, games room, or formal sitting area depending on the day. Nothing about the house screams for attention, and maybe that is exactly the point. But the true emotional center of the property may actually be outdoors. Because outside, the estate becomes almost meditative. The backyard stretches quietly beneath the shade of large mature trees. Carefully maintained flower beds and tropical plants surround the property year-round, creating the feeling of a private sanctuary hidden from the noise of the outside world. And strangely enough, that quiet life feels very different from the image many people imagine when they think about wealthy former athletes. There is no obsession with showing success off to the world, only the calm confidence of a man who already knows what he accomplished long ago. But even though Desmond Haynes stepped away from the spotlight, cricket never truly left his life. Because in an era where many athletes turn every vacation, purchase, and personal moment into online content, Desmond Haynes almost seems to belong to another generation entirely. A quieter one. Today, he continues living in Holders Hill, Street James, the same rural community where his story first began. Local people still see him not just as a former cricketer, but as part of the island itself. He remains closely connected to the community, often appearing at local events, charity activities, and at the Desmond Haynes Sports Complex named in his honor. His lifestyle is simple but comfortable. Golf with friends, time with his wife Ellen and family, and the slow rhythm of Caribbean life. And perhaps the biggest twist of all is this. After retiring in 1994, Haynes never tried to chase the spotlight again. No reality television, no flashy social media lifestyle, no attempt to turn his legacy into a non-stop content machine. Even his Instagram account, @DeshanesGolf, remains relatively private and understated. Instead, he chose peace over visibility. 2024. Chairman of Selectors Barbados, Director at Cricket West Indies, and later his appointment to the ICC Men's Cricket Committee in 2025. He also supports younger generations through coaching programs and the Desmond Haynes Foundation, focused on education and cricket opportunities for young talent. And perhaps one sentence explains his mindset best. "I got plenty of help." That attitude still shapes the way he lives today. Because after everything cricket gave him, the most valuable thing Desmond Haynes kept was not fame itself. It was respect, and the feeling of still being connected to the island that raised him. Over the years, he has received major honors including the Order of Freedom of Barbados and an honorary doctorate from UWI. But perhaps after surviving the pressure of world-class sport for nearly 2 decades, Desmond Haynes finally found something many modern superstars are still searching for. A genuinely peaceful life. And now we would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Desmond Haynes made the right decision by stepping away from the spotlight and returning to a quiet life in Barbados? Or would you have liked to see him become a bigger public figure after cricket?